What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another video on the Texas Rangers report. And in this video, we are going to be grading the Texas Rangers 2021-2022 offseason. And even though we're in the midst of a lockout, and honestly, I don't know if the lockout is going to get solved anytime soon. The lockout will eventually get solved, and more acquisitions will continue for the Rangers and the entire MLB. But if you're a Texas Rangers fan, make sure to like, subscribe, because I'm your number one source for all things Texas Rangers on YouTube. But first off, the Rangers started off with a bang, signing all-star shortstop Corey Seager to a 10-year, $325 million contract. And obviously, going into this offseason, Corey Seager was the second best free agent according to many people. And the number one free agent is still out there. That's Carlos Correa. I did not think that we were going to get Seager. I thought it was going to stop after Semien, but we'll touch on Semien in a while. What do I grade the Seager signing? I'm going to grade this an A+. Tell me what you guys think in the comments section down below, but I'll give you my reasons why I have it as an A. First and foremost, the reasons why I don't have it as an A+ and only an A is because Seager has had trouble with injuries. Granted, some of those injuries are a little fluky, but also Seager isn't the best defensively at shortstop, and he might have to move to third base down the line. Those are really the only concerns I have with him. But besides that, you're getting an all-star player with the bat, a guy that can bring a bunch of leadership to a extremely young team. And right now, he's still going to play a really good shortstop for you. Granted, he does have to stay healthy. Did the Rangers pay a little bit too much for him? We will see. But I think kind of like football contracts, baseball contracts are kind of going up every single year. So you have Manny Machado, who says, I'm worth this much. But then whenever Seager's free agent, he's like, I'm worth this much. And then Correa, who says or is speculated to be the best free agent in this class, is going to say, I want that much. Just how the NFL free agency period works. I need to get rid of this glare. But anyways, so the same thing in NFL. Whenever Jared Goff was getting his contract, Russell Wilson, and then Dak Prescott, we all know how this works. So I'm grading the Corey Seager signing an A, but let me know what you think in the comments. Are you guys worried about the injuries for Corey Seager, or is that not an issue for you at all? As I try to get rid of this glare, which is kind of annoying. Oh, that kind of did it right there. Okay, second on this list is Marcus Semien. So another guy who's been a great player when healthy, another shortstop, but pretty much played second base last year due to the fact that the Toronto Blue Jays had Bo Bichette, future Hall of Famer. Maybe that's probably a stretch, but I almost said future All-Star, but I'm pretty sure he's already made an All-Star game. I'm giving this an A-, okay? I have some reasons for this. So if you look at the baseball savant numbers, Corey Seager, like I said, his defense isn't that great, but his offensive numbers are in the red, and that's really good for a baseball savant. He just needs to stay healthy. And even down that, when you get to that 10-year mark, he can probably still play third, maybe first, DH. Obviously, shortstop may not be Seager's thing, but Marcus Semien didn't have the best baseball savant numbers. They were still better than a lot of normal players in the major leagues, but maybe not worth the money that we're giving him. Do I think he can definitely play up to what we're paying him? Sure, I just think he needs to go more towards his Oakland Athletic days instead of that last year in Toronto. Because even though he had those 45 home runs, they're playing half their games in the AAA Buffalo Park, and this year he's gonna have to play half his games in Texas Rangers ballpark, which is obviously a pitcher's friendly ballpark. So we'll have to see how Marcus Semien holds up, but he's a pretty durable guy. Another thing is that he's only had 2 good seasons really in the MLB, and those were that one year with the Athletics where he was 3rd in the AL voting, and then last year with the Blue Jays where he was 3rd in MVP voting. So let me know what you think in the comment section down below. I do think Seeger and Simeon are going to be our best players this year by a wide margin, and he's going to be one of our better defenders. He won a Gold Glove at second base, so I'm giving this an A-. I do like it that it's only 7 years. You can get out of it quicker, but he is also older. Moving on to Jon Gray. And this signing I like the most because I think it has the most untapped potential. You kind of know what you're getting in Corey Seager and Marcus Semien, and that's ultimately what you're paying for. But with Jon Gray, I think there is still untapped potential for a guy that's been in the league as long as he has. We signed him to a 4-year, $56 million contract. And from what I've seen, you would think that most MLB ball clubs they all get the same stats, you would think. And you would think that they would all know what to do with, okay, this guy doesn't have a good spin rate on his fastball, or this guy does have good spin rate, etc., etc. So if you have a lower spin rate, maybe you attack lower in the zone, higher spin rate, attack higher in the zone. So I'm just thinking like a lot of MLB clubs have that same information. But then there's just clubs that are just so dumb, like the Rockies, that just botched this situation with Jon Gray. They didn't trade him at the deadline. Granted, he's probably they'll get an average return, but still, you could trade him. They didn't. They didn't trade Trevor Story either. They didn't even give Jon Gray a qualifying offer. So it makes me think, what are they doing in that organization? They didn't handle this situation right. Did they not even try to develop him the right way? And I looked at Jon Gray's numbers over on Baseball Savant. If you guys want to look at stats, that's a really good place to look at advanced statistics. And his best pitch was his slider, and I think that's going to be a big part of his game this year. But his best fastball, or the fastball, or the pitch he threw the most, was a 4-seam fastball. And he was throwing it right over the heart of the plate. Maybe that's just due to a lack of control. But I'm thinking a guy with a low 3/4 arm slot that doesn't really generate a lot of spin rate. What if you just give him a sinker and then he can get ground balls? It might just be too simple to be true, but maybe if he shifted to that with the Rangers, could that unlock something? And I actually looked at his curveball. That's actually a good pitch. He just didn't throw it a lot. And I don't think you'd have to ditch his 4-seam fastball completely. I just think that would add nice separation in his pitches. But also, if you look at it, his 4-seam fastball and his changeup didn't generate that much movement difference between each other. So his 4-seam fastball was right in this range. His changeup was somewhere in this range. And really, you want your changeup to be a little bit lower right in there. So if I'm thinking about it, if I'm the Rockies player development or the Rangers, it's like, do you change something with the grip? Do you change his release? Something like that. But I don't know. Maybe some organizations are just better than that. And honestly, I don't really have too much faith with the Rockies. just look at like who's the last good pitcher they have developed. Obviously, they have a lot of good hitting stars, but Coors Field, you can the ball flies there. So hopefully the Rangers can capitalize off of what the Rockies kind of screwed up, in my opinion. Obviously, the Rangers haven't been known for developing good pitching, but that's only for the player development. I think we're starting to turn that around. But we've also been known for getting veterans in free agency and turning them around, and that's what I'm excited for with Jon Gray. I really do think he could be an under the radar all-star. So I'm giving that a B plus. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below on the Jon Gray signing. Is it an a C, a B, a C? But I think it is a B plus. And lastly, I'll get to your comment very quickly, Samuel. But for Kole Calhoun, longtime Angel, and back when I wasn't really like diving into statistics, I used to travel out to California like once every 2 years, and it was kind of cool to see Kole Calhoun play versus the Rangers. I thought he was really good because he had some pop, he played some defense. But in reality, if you think about this, like it was cool to get Kole Calhoun at the time because it's like, man, we got Semien, we got Gray, and we got Calhoun all on the same day. But in reality, let's say we took away the Semien signing, the Gray signing. What was that? What are we doing with Calhoun? Like, yes, he'll most likely be an above average bat versus right-handed pitching, and you're facing right-handed pitching most of the time. But in my opinion, we gave him a 1-year, $5 million contract. In retrospect, it's not the worst deal in the world. You can platoon him with a guy like Andy Ibanez or Nick Solak, if you like. But I think Ibanez has a clearer track to platoon versus with Calhoun. But this Calhoun doesn't really move the needle. Were there other free agents that probably could have been around the same price point that would have given you better production? I don't really know. This is a nice stopgap to have before your prospects get closer, probably because you got a lot of middle infielders that could eventually move to the outfield. So it's kind of a head scratcher. Like, will he kill us? No. Will he be great? No. So I'm just giving this a C. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. I will get to any comments that you guys have right now. From Samuel Sandite, Jon Gray will finish top 10 in Cy Young voting this year. That's interesting. I wonder, it'd be interesting to see what where Mike Minor landed in Cy Young voting his first year with the Rangers, and then Lance Lynn as well, because those guys really had good seasons their first years with the Texas Rangers. Kyle Gibson, not so much, but that's probably one of the biggest projects they've ever turned around, because obviously Mike Minor has had success in big leagues before the Rangers. A starter, had a little success, converted to a relief pitcher, then went back to a starter with the Rangers. And then Lance Lynn, we all know he had success with the Cardinals. So it's not like these guys haven't had success before. But Kyle Gibson just been like an average pitcher his entire career. And then the Rangers sign him 3 years, $10 million. And then that first year, it's like, oh no, this is going to be a bad contract for us. But he didn't really change anything, but the only thing he added was a cutter. So the Rangers have experimented with pitchers before. They've gotten guys off Tommy John. Obviously, that's not the case with Jon Gray, but Jon Gray has used a sinker in the past. He's eliminated it. I don't know if the Rockies, if he never got used to it, maybe the Rockies player development is just terrible. I don't know. But the Rangers have gotten players to add new pitches before. Maybe they can do that again with Jon Gray. I really do think if he can add a sinker, that could help out tremendously. From Samuel Sandite, Lance Lynn finished 5th and Miner finished 8th in Cy Young voting in 2019. Okay, this is interesting because obviously this was Lance Lynn's first year with the Texas Rangers. And 5th is pretty huge, from going and being a guy with Tommy John to signing with the Rangers and landing 5th in Cy Young voting. And Mike Minor, I think 2019 was his best year with the Rangers, but also just the best year in his career. And 8th is pretty solid. Honestly, I agree with you, Samuel. I'm not going to lie. You're pretty high on a bunch of Rangers players, but I think Jon Gray could finish top 10 in Cy Young voting. I'm not going to lie. All right, so I'm sorry I don't know how to pronounce your name, but AJ Alexy, 160 innings pitched, a 10-8 record, 40 walks to 130 strikeouts. Honestly, 160 innings would definitely be nice. But the 10-8 record, you can't really look too much into how much a pitcher wins and how much a pitcher loses, because there's been times where Jacob deGrom has lost plenty of games, but that doesn't mean he's a terrible pitcher. Let's say AJ Alexy wins 10 games, 8 losses, okay? Back in the day, they'll be like, okay, that's pretty solid. But what if Jacob deGrom lost or won 5 games, lost 11? Who would you take? I would still take Jacob deGrom. I'm sure you probably know this. I just want to put it back into like people's brains. If I don't know. But yeah, I don't really look too much in the wins and losses. But the 130 strikeouts is definitely pretty big, which would definitely be nice. The only thing about AJ Alexy, I do still think he needs time in the minors. I don't think it's that much time, but this is where I see the rotation being for the Rangers. I still think they're going to sign 1 or 2 more guys. Be Clayton Kershaw or Carlos Rendon. That's going to be their number 1 guy. And then it's going to be Jon Gray. And then I think they're going to pick up an innings eater. I've mentioned Zach Davies or Matt Boyd on the channel before. And then I think it's going to be Dane Dunning. So if AJ Alexy could go into spring training and win that 5th job, boom, 160 innings, he could probably get that. But that 5th spot could definitely be open to Taylor Hearn or Glenn Otto. So we'll just have to see. But the thing about Alexy, he has options. So does Glenn Otto, especially since Taylor Hearn pitched well as a starter towards the end of the season last year. I think Hearn could have the inside track. And one thing you guys should think about, I'm just trying to think about this as well, is what guys could end up being starters that we're not thinking about. Obviously, John King was a great reliever in the bullpen last year. We moved him to a starter. He got injured. Was it because we moved him to a starter? We can't really say that it was, but he still looked good as a starter. If he got healthy, could he move there? Jonathan Hernandez, obviously he's injured, going to be out the first 2 months, but could he move back to being a starter? That's where he was as a prospect. But the Rangers needed him in the bullpen, and that's how he got to start the majors. But could they move him back? They've tried this with guys in the past. Could they try it again? From Samuel Sandite, Dane Dunning needs to take a step forward this year. He could be a solid number 3. Yeah, I do think Dane Dunning needs to take a step forward. I do want to share the screen because I think it'd be interesting to show Dane Dunning's baseball savant. Just 1 second. Share. Perfect. Oh, hold up. So what I'm about to do is I'm going to look up Dane Dunning's baseball savant because I think it is important that you guys get a full representation of what these guys are looking like with how they're getting guys out, how their stuff is playing against better players at the major league level. I've done this before. I just need to figure out how to do it again. I think this could work. No. Huh. Okay, well, as I'm trying to figure this out, Taylor Hearn, 100 innings pitched. I really don't think that Taylor Hearn can get that. Mainly because I still think the question is out. Can he actually be a starter or is he a bullpen guy? That's what I think the Rangers are trying to figure out. Hearn wants to be a starter. I know that. If you go to Texas Rangers Fanatics, another YouTube channel dedicated to Rangers, good guy. We've done 2 collabs. He interviewed Taylor Hearn. Hearn says he wants to go to the Hall of Fame as a starter. That's big aspirations, but the question is still out, especially because of his control. Zach Latz. Did Zach make the majors this year? I forgot. Or did he just go to AAA? I can't remember. But honestly, I don't know if there's any guarantee that he will make the majors. Share screen. Oh, hold up. Nope. Wait, I think I can figure this out. Hold up. I've shared the screen before. All right, well, it doesn't seem like I'm being able to figure out how to share the screen to show the baseball savant numbers, but that's okay. But basically, I was trying to show that a lot of Dane Dunning stuff is in the blue, and that's not the best. I think the best thing for him has been his walk percentage, but I mean, I guess I could pull it up on my phone real quick. But I think the thing is, what I'm trying to get at is don't count on Dane Dunning as a sure thing. I think a lot of people thought that whenever we got Dane Dunning, since we traded basically an ace for Lance Lynn for Dunning, we're like, okay, sweet. We're going to get a top prospect back. And obviously, Dane Dunning he's a top 100 prospect, but don't count on him to be the next Lance Lynn. Don't count on him to be the next Wheeler, Scherzer, etc. I think right now, as it's going, honestly, he's a ground ball pitcher. So I'm thinking, who could be a good comp? Jon Gray actually makes a lot of sense. Two ground ball pitchers. I mean, the game has shifted towards putting the fastball up in the strike zone, high spin rate on the fastball, but that doesn't mean that's the only way to be successful. Just look at Kyle Hendricks, obviously not the best pitcher in the league, but he gets it done. He uses his defense. He uses what his tool sets provide. Jon Gray, 100 innings, a 14-9 record, 180 strikeouts to 40 walks. I actually think Jon Gray could go a few more innings than that. Let's see if you can. So this is Jon Gray's. That is Jon Gray's. This is Dane Dunning's percentile ranking on Baseball Savant. So his average exit velocity is, I don't know, but 36 it looks like. Hard hit percentage is 15. Basically, you can see that it's pretty much all in the blue, which isn't good. And the only thing that's in the red is his chase. So what I'm trying to say is that's not really indicative of, he's going to be terrible, but I'm just trying to point out that don't count on him as a sure thing. I think we have to look at, he could definitely eat some innings, be a lower tier guy in the rotation. Maybe the highest he ever gets is a number 3. Some people were saying, I remember back whenever we traded for him, they got an ace. I don't think that's the case. I think the best case scenario is a number 3, unless he just goes crazy in the offseason and, I don't know, just changes his whole game, which is kind of tough to do. But I think best case scenario, number 3 pitcher. Worst case scenario, which is what he kind of already did last year, is a back end of the rotation guy, which isn't the worst thing in the world. But we have to remember, we have Jack Leiter, who we hope is going to be an ace. We have Cohen, who we hope is going to be an ace. So do we really need Dane Dunning to be an ace? Not really. Maybe just an innings eater to get through the season. And I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name, but I appreciate you being here and watching the live stream. Cody Bradford, 40 innings. So I'm guessing you're predicting that he will just get some innings in like the last month of the season, which I do think is possible. So obviously the Rangers don't really think they're going to be contenders next year per se. So they do have to keep the goals realistic. And if you're just joining us, tonight's live stream was on grading the Texas Rangers 2021-2022 offseason. And we have had 4 major signings so far, with the likes of Corey Seager to a 10-year, $325 million contract, Marcus Semien to a 7-year, $175 million contract, Jon Gray to a 4-year, $56 million contract, and Kole Calhoun to a 1-year, $5 million contract. And I rated Corey Seager an A, Marcus Semien an A-, Jon Gray a B+, Kole Calhoun a C, and this basically all rates out to a B+. So I think, in my opinion, this has been a solid offseason so far. The Rangers roster has just been pretty depleted of star talent. We traded Joey Gallo. We don't really know what we have in Adolis Garcia. Can Nate Lowe take the next step and be a star? Don't really know just yet, but he could be a solid just hitter. But I think we just got 2 stars, and it seems like the Rangers, no matter how good or bad they are, they always have stars on their team. We've had Mark Teixeira, Alex Rodriguez, Ruben Sierra, Sammy Sosa, and like not all of these guys have been stars on the Rangers, but stars in the making. And we just got, I think, 2 immediate stars. So this is nice, and I think we have plenty of stars in the minor leagues. So if you guys have any more comments, if you have any more comments, I'm about to wrap up this live stream. I really appreciate you coming out, watching. It's been about 2 weeks since I've done a live stream, so if you liked it, please give it a thumbs up down below. I appreciate everybody who's watched live streams in the past, or just any particular video in the past. I really appreciate it. I'm going to stick around for about another 30 seconds just to see if anybody has any more comments. But if you haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe. That way you never miss any future videos. All right, Owen White, 120 innings pitch. Personally, I don't know if he'll reach the majors this year. And then Coleman, 70 innings pitch. That could be possible. He might reach the majors this year. So thank you all for staying to the very end, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.